Good morning and welcome to Toronto Police Headquarters. Today I would like to introduce Detective Sergeant Stacy Gallant of Homicide Cold Case. He will be providing media information on an arrest made in Homicide number 13 for 1993. Detective Sergeant.
Thank you and good morning. Through the years, cold case investigations have advanced in several ways from previous years. One of the many ways was through examination of items collected at the time of the offense and examined for the presence of DNA. Once that process has been conducted and a profile has been developed, the next step is to link it to an offender, the offender that's responsible for that crime. Over the years, the Toronto Police Cold Case Unit has been examining cases where there was close contact between the victim and the offender, where we would expect some transfer of DNA or evidence. On Friday, March 19th, 1993, Barbara Brodkin's 6-year-old son called 911 from within her apartment, seeking help for his mother, who he believed was deceased. She had been murdered. An extensive investigation took place. During the months that followed the murder, canvasses for witnesses, examination of evidence, polygraphs, photographs, phone records, banking records, and over 100 persons were interviewed at the time. Her alleged killer was never identified and the case went cold. Barbara Brodkin was born in Toronto in 1954. She was married in 1983 and later separated from her husband in 1991. She had a long list of family and acquaintances across Toronto. She worked various jobs as a secretary or typist while raising her son as a single parent. After 24 years, a review of this case was commenced last August. Additional forensic examinations on evidence collected at the time of the offense were ordered and sent to CFS for DNA examinations. The evidence revealed a DNA profile. The donor of that DNA profile has been identified through this investigation. As a result, Charles William Mustard was identified, investigated, and arrested for the murder of Barbara Brodkin. On October 19th, now 63-year-old, at the time 37 years old, Charles William Mustard was arrested and charged with her murder, first-degree murder. Mustard is a current and longtime resident of Toronto. The investigation revealed that they were acquainted in that they did know each other. They were not strangers. Now, 25 years later, the boy who found his mother murdered in their apartment can have some answers. Although there will be a process for this case to work its way through the justice system, at the very least, he can know that we never gave up. The investigative team, the detectives in the cold case unit, forensic identification officers, interview teams, all did a stellar job in putting this case together. There will be many more to come. Of interest in this particular case, the first officer who responded to this call back in 1993 was a young officer named Constable Rob Thomas. He first attended the victim's apartment and became part of the investigative team at the time of the original investigation. 25 years later, this same officer, now Detective Rob Thomas, the lead polygraph officer in Toronto, once again became part of this investigative team. He prepared for and became the lead interview officer on the team responsible for conducting the interview of the now accused. I cannot discuss further the interview of the accused outside of the court process. Detective Thomas continued to feel a connection to this case over the years, and he never forgot it. The Center of Forensic Sciences, the dedicated work of the forensic technologists and the scientists that located the DNA years later, fortifies the need for the expertise within the justice community. Our cold case unit continues to work very closely with CFS in efforts to solve as many cases as possible. Today, we are releasing the photograph of Charles Mustard to reach out to those that knew him and Barbara Brodkin back in 1993. It has been many years since this murder, and we are asking persons who knew both Barbara and Charles or Charlie to call us if we have not been in contact with you. More specifically, if your name is Dirk or Linda and you know Barbara and Charlie or Charles, we are asking that you reach out to us and contact us at the Homicide Cold Case Unit at 416-808-7410. Charles Mustard will be appearing in court on Wednesday at College Park Courts via video remand. This is a message that I would send to all those who are waiting, wondering if they will ever be caught for other cold cases that are out there. Note this, we will never give up. We don't stop looking for you, and don't stop looking behind yourself, because you never know when we will come for you. Today, I also have the pleasure of inviting up Herb Brodkin, who is the first cousin of Barbara Brodkin, and to say a few words. Thank you. Please.
Detective Sergeant, speaking for myself and my family, I'd like to thank you and your team for your persistence in leading us to a matter that's going to now be disposed by our justice system. To me, when you called me, I guess on Friday,
Yes.
you gave new meaning to the words that I've always respected, that are the emblem of the Toronto Police Service, and I guess the Metropolitan Toronto Police Force before that. That is to serve and to protect. I was so impressed by the diligence that went into this effort to now bring this matter before our courts. I had the pleasure of serving as an officer of the court and still am, for over 50 years. Up until recently, I thought cold cases was just something that happened in a TV series in the States. I'm so proud of you folks, all of them. And again, thank you personally on behalf of my family, and I'm sure on behalf of the public. I diligently hope that people who know more about this come forward and assist in this investigation, so that not only do we have a result and we have final closure to this matter, but we have a fair and just result. Thanks again.
Thank you. If there's any questions I might be able to answer.
That photo in 2002 of Charles Mustard, what is that from?
It's a police-related photograph as well.
And so he was arrested previously?
He does have prior contact with the police, yes.
His DNA profile, was it acquired at the time of the murder, or was it acquired later?
I can't get into the details of the DNA. All I'm willing to say at this point in time is that it is DNA that led to the arrest.
Do you have specifics on where it was found?
No, again, I can't get into where the DNA was located or how it was located, just that it is DNA that led to this arrest.
And he will be in front of the court in this case?
Yes.
Has he remained in contact with the family since?
Has
He's remained in contact with the family. You said you interviewed a large number of witnesses. You said that he was in contact and was a friend of the deceased. Has he remained in contact with the family in any way?
No.
Over the years?
No, he is not.
What can you tell us about Dirk and Linda, who you're looking for?
They are persons that we believe were acquainted to both Mr. Mustard and Barbara Brodkin back in 1993 or in around that time frame. And they are two persons that we're just looking for, that we need to follow up with, that may have information that can assist in this case. You can imagine over time, 25 years has passed, people move several times in some cases to different cities, to different provinces, even outside the country. Over the course of this investigation the last year, we've been reaching out to numerous people that were previously interviewed to get updated information from them and to assist in the investigation. There are times where we can't locate people. Even in cases like this, it's been 25 years. There's some people that are no longer with us that have passed on. There are people that moved to other countries. And these are two individuals specifically that we would just like to be in touch with to help advance the case further.
The DNA evidence you had originally, did you obtain new DNA from the man who's just been arrested?
Well, the DNA, I can tell you, DNA in 1993 was not was not really in the investigative process at the time. DNA back then was very, very new and very had very limited use back then. It wasn't until the 2000s that DNA started to become more mainstream. And again, in this case, what I would say is that we re-evaluated evidence that was collected back at the time, and we submitted things to the Center of Forensic Sciences for DNA examination under today's DNA techniques and testing techniques that resulted in why we're here today.
How do you get a sample of the accused's DNA?
Again, that's not an area that I'll discuss right now. That'll be left to the courts.
Are you looking for anyone else that's perhaps an accessory or perhaps someone that may have ordered Barbara's death?
No, this is the only person we're looking for in this investigation at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes today's conference.